Welcome to Your Success Podcast. We give you actionable insight and stories behind real-life success wherever you go. Here are your hosts, Angelos and Mo.
Welcome to Your Success Podcast. I'm Angelos.
And I'm Mo.
And we're excited to be here with another deep dive in one of our parts of Your Success book as part of our mini-series, which is, I think, it's the 6th in the series, isn't it, Mo?
6th one,
yeah. Our book is released on Monday the 24th on Amazon, and please head over to tiny.cc/your book for exclusive launch offers. So our book, Mo, just very quickly, how would you summarize it? How will it benefit people?
So I think it would benefit people because it is a collection of actionable insight from really successful people. So people that we've interviewed on the podcast, our own research, our own experience over the last few years, sort of personal development. And it not only gives people the theory behind what are the key traits of success. So we go into 10 key traits of success in the book that we've distilled from those conversations. So not only the theory on those, but also practical application of those. And there's also a toolkit. So there's action steps and a toolkit. So at the end of each chapter, there's 2 or 3 action steps that you can immediately go away and start actioning this stuff. And there's also a toolkit which goes into a bit more detail with more action steps in to actually start to build your success plan, make changes in your life straight away. So I think really it's so good because the information sourced from credible people and people that are really successful, and also we give it in a way that's really easy to understand and it's actionable as well. So yeah, really excited about everyone reading it.
And we want everyone to read to become a success. You know, we want people to do well, so we can't wait till it comes out on the 24th of September.
Absolutely.
So today's deep dive is going to be about fear and limiting beliefs, isn't it, Mo?
It is. Okay,
so here goes. So Mo, what is fear?
So fear is quite natural, and we go into this in the book. Fear is designed to protect us. It's quite sort of an old instinct that we've got as human beings, and it's designed to protect us because a lot of the time it's around things that we maybe haven't done before. So being scared of things we haven't done before because your brain's like, well, if you haven't done it, then how do you know what the outcome's going to be? So that's quite logical.
The fear of the unknown, right?
Yeah, fear of the unknown. It's also about your brain joining the dots, and sometimes it joins the dots not in the right way. So it might say, well, actually, Angelos did this last week, so if you do this week, if you do the same thing, you're going to get the same outcome, which might be true. And again, it's logical, and it's sort of your brain and your body protecting yourself. But actually, it's the reason fear is so dangerous is because it's not always the same set of circumstances. So you might have different people involved in whatever the thing is. So what's an easy example? I don't know.
I'll give you an example, Mo. So you watch the Nature Channel and you see these horrendous, massive man-killing spiders, and therefore in your mind you've created that connection in your mind that every single spider is going to kill you or cause harm. Yeah. Whereas the reality is, you know, it's only a small percentage of spiders that will actually damage you. But in your head, all spiders are now dangerous. And the same in real life. You know, I've seen someone, it may not necessarily be your own experience, you've seen a parent or a friend who's not necessarily done well in business, they've gone bankrupt, therefore anyone who does business will have this experience. So it's just sometimes unraveling those connections and creating new pathways in your head, and understanding that actually you don't necessarily have to be crippled by fear, because what one person's circumstances and situation isn't necessarily always going to be the same for you.
Absolutely. And actually the other thing that we talk about in the book on that is, even if that did happen if something happened to one person. So I think another example would be, I don't know, you go on holiday to a certain place and you get robbed, right? So you're like, well, actually, if I go on holiday there, I might get robbed. But it could be that actually you've learned, when I go, I might have learned from what happened to you and done something different. So you might have been walking down the high street somewhere and with your phone out, and someone's come by on a moped, which actually has happened in London. I think that's quite a big thing that's been happening, and someone's nicked your phone. So, but if I go, I don't need to be scared that will happen to me, because I can take measures and I can actually learn from what happened to you to protect that happening to me, protect myself from that happening to me.
Yeah, I mean, your story now, your immediate thought, right, okay, London equals moped robbery. Well, we all know the chances of getting robbed by a moped and that same moped guy is like infinitesimally small. So yeah, there are things that you could do to protect yourself. Don't necessarily have your mobile phone in your back pocket. Don't have your flashy stuff on thing, and maybe have Batman on speed dial. We just don't know. But the point is that you shouldn't necessarily judge a complete object, situation, whatever it is, idea, based on other people's fears and limiting beliefs and perhaps their experiences. Learn from them for sure, but don't necessarily cripple your own success, your own actions by limiting yourself based on their bad or fearful experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is quite crippling, and we talk about this with limiting beliefs as well. The problem with fear and with limiting beliefs, so limiting beliefs being beliefs that you hold about yourself that aren't true but that hold you back. Like, I can't do that, or I haven't got enough experience, or this person won't like me, or I'm not a confident person, or I'm no good at business, whatever it is. They're so dangerous because they actually prevent you even trying the thing that you might need to do to get better at something. So an example might be, I'm no good at maths, so I'm not going to do a maths course. But actually, like, that's part of the point of it. You could go and get better at maths by doing it.
That's the very thing you do need to be doing, because if it is a limiting belief and it's holding you back from achieving your success, for example, if it's maths or not being financially literate, then go out there, get yourself educated, learn about maths, and really go to town on it and make it your thing. Make that your goal for the next 6 months, to really understand all about balance sheets, P&L, and all this kind of stuff, because it's important for any business, etc., etc.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. You just need to you need to do it, and it's it's easy to say, oh, just get over the fear and feel the fear and do it anyway, and it's much harder to put into practice. And I think that's why the book, we've focused it so much around actionable steps that people can take, because it's easy to read something that says, oh, just do it anyway. You might be scared, but just do it. Just grow a pair and do it. But that's easy to say, but it's a lot harder to do.
It's very easy for someone to say grow a pair when
they're not scared of the thing.
When they're not scared, or they have the experience, they can't understand where you're coming from. They haven't had the same upbringing, the same experiences as you have. So what we talk about in the book is just making sure that you take small little steps towards overcoming your fears. So, for example, if it is a fear of spiders, for example, we talk about going out there, doing some research. What spiders are local to your area? Do you have any venomous or poisonous spiders in your area? And if you don't, then go to the local zoo. Just have a look at them. Maybe go to somewhere where they professionally allow you to hold a tarantula. Try and overcome those fears, because once you've done it, then in your own mind you've hit that plateau and you smash through it, and then suddenly you feel, wow, the whole world's opened up to it. I mean, for example, if you've got a fear of flying, the whole world is literally unavailable to you. But if you overcome that fear, suddenly the whole world opens up to you. It's an amazing feeling.
And I think there probably is an argument for just going all out, and either in the spider example or the flying example, just going and getting on a plane, or just going and holding a big spider, the big scary spider, straight away. But I think equally there's probably a case to actually take, like you said, incremental steps. So if you're scared of flying, research about flying, research safety statistics, go and speak to people, go and speak to pilots, start off on very short flights to sort of build up to it, and actually then build up to the bigger thing that you want to sort of overcome.
Yeah, definitely. Because don't limit yourself in whatever space of time that we have in our lives. Don't cripple your own success. Don't limit yourself by saying X, Y, and Z are going to cause me pain, or I'm fearful of that. Confront your fears. Perhaps it is a legitimate fear, and perhaps you shouldn't do that thing. Taking drugs, for example, you just don't do it. But the fear of, let's say, not flying, or not starting your own business, or the fear of whatever it is, confront it.
Yeah, definitely.
You'll definitely grow into a bigger person.
Definitely. And the thing with that is, I think once you've done it with one thing, you can then apply that methodology to other things. So if you've got over one fear or one limiting belief, you can then actually apply that to other things. The other thing I want to talk about is, in the book, we talk about taking people out of their comfort zone and out of the context that they're like comfortable in, and the fact that actually everyone is fearful. It's just that if you're watching someone who's a really good public speaker, then they are very confident and they're not scared, or they might be a little bit scared, but they don't show outwardly that they're scared. But that's because they've practiced loads, they've started off with smaller audiences, they've built themselves up. If you put them in a different context, like in a boardroom presenting on a topic they don't know, or on a football pitch, or on a stage, or whatever it is, they are going to be scared. And the same vice versa. If you take someone who's a really good footballer and, you know, really confident, and make them do some public speaking, they're going to be really, really scared. So don't look at the people that are at the top of their game and think, oh my God, they're how are they not scared of anything? Because you're looking at the finished product. It's a bit like comparing yourself when you're starting out to people that are at the top of their game. You can't do it because it's just so dangerous.
For sure. We're gonna touch on comfort zones in 2 seconds. You just reminded me of something, actually, Mo. When I was 14, 15, we did a local theatre production. So it's a Theatre Royal in Plymouth, and there's about, I don't know, 80 odd people in the cast, and I was cast as the lead there as Emperor Powers, and that was really good fun. And I remember at 14 years old, I suddenly had to go out on the main stage of the Theatre Royal, and my entrance was literally on a throne, and I had to come out singing to an audience of 200 people. And sometimes, Mo, I know we talk about incremental steps, you just got to bloody get out and do it. I didn't even think up to that point that I would have to do that, and then suddenly it dawned on me 30 seconds before, and then it's like, right, this is make or break time. You can either be crippled by fear or just bloody do it. And I did it. And then from then on, you know, confidence was never an issue for me. I knew that if I could sing in front of 200 people, then, you know, the whole world the whole world's open to me. It's not an issue at all. Comfort zone. It's interesting you mentioned that, because the whole point of a comfort zone is that you're safe and secure there, right? It's comfortable. But that's not the place where you need to be. And you need to push the boundaries of your comfort zone and start being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And what we mean by that is, just because you're happy where you are now isn't necessarily where you want to be. That's the whole point of the book, is that you have to drive towards your success, whatever that may be. So sometimes you need to push against the boundaries, start encountering new situations, new people, new scenarios, so that you can start becoming uncomfortable, because that's where the growth is actually made.
Definitely. And the other thing with that is, you know, you can use people that are experienced, and you can use mentors to do that, because the benefit of the mentor and having other people that you might be in a sort of a mentorship group with is they bring a different perspective on it. So that because they might have already been through it, especially from a mentor's point of view, who's probably further ahead of you in the journey, they'll look at it and they'll be like, you'll come to them with a challenge or something you're scared of, and they'll be like, well, that's tiny, don't worry about that. If you do this, this and this, it'll be fine. And just to get their perspective on it can really help you overcome that fear, because they're looking at it from a totally different point of view.
And let's not kid ourselves. We look at the Elon Musks of the world, you know, the Richard Bransons and Steve Jobs and all these amazing people. You know, you can't tell me they didn't sometimes wake up in the middle of the night going, what the hell am I doing? You know, I am shit scared here. Is this going to work? And I think that's normal with every person looking to start something new, whether it's a new business or a new career or whatever it may be to you, whatever your success is to you. And that's another key point of the book, is that we don't just talk about business and money, because that is one important aspect for sure. But the success can mean so many different things to people. And it's normal to feel fearful when you're first starting out. That's absolutely normal. It happens to all of us. And even when you're an experienced businessman, you can experience bigger challenges, newer things, newer problems. And even then, you know, when you think you're at the top of your game, something will come along and floor you. So you've got you will feel fear, but it's just overcoming it, because you've done it before. You've built up that resilience within yourself, and you know you can overcome it.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. So the other thing we wanted to talk about was different types of fear. So we talked about fear of the unknown, fear of failure and fear of rejection, and sort of fear of what other people think. And I think we've talked about this on the podcast before, about sort of worrying about what other people think about you. And a lot of people's fear is based on, oh, well, what if it fails? And then fear of failure, and then what if it fails? And then what will other people think of me? And I think that's a really big one to overcome. And I suppose it comes with time and not worrying so much about what other people think, because it's none of their business what you do with your life.
Yeah, for sure. And probably one of the most important things is, let's say, for example, you're in sales, or you're thinking of going into sales, or you're pushed into that environment. If you have a fear of rejection, very quickly you will overcome that or you'll leave the job.
Yeah.
But that is a key point there. If you keep doing it and you get used to hearing those no's, and we talk about the power of the word no, don't we? It's just a little letter word, and yet it has so much power over people. And sometimes no just means no, not yet.
Yeah.
And you just got to, keep pushing, for example, for that lead or for that sale or for that deal or whatever it may be. And it's just perseverance.
Yeah.
And that's why we, the fear and perseverance and determination are very closely linked.
Yeah.
And that's why we've written different chapters about those different things. But you have to just keep pushing on sometimes. You have to just get those, get that experience under your belt of hearing all those no's. If it's a job interview, for example, you have to go through, let's say, 3-4 interviews before you get to the right one. And sometimes it is a numbers game. For example, viewing properties, you have to view 100 to maybe put offers in on 20, and then you get maybe 3 or 4 accepted. And you just have to go through that process.
And the other thing about sort of other people's opinion and being scared of what other people think of you is, partly it's none of their business, like what you're doing. Business. It's none of your business what they think of you. Yeah, you're right. Partly that, and also they're looking at it from their point of view. So they're judging because they're scared of something, or they've not done it, or they wouldn't do it themselves. But you can't live your life by that, because otherwise you'll be confined to what the people in your kind of immediate circle think is the limits of your capability.
It has to go through what I call the Angelos filter. So I listen to people's opinions. It goes through the filter, and then whatever's
and then you disregard them all. It's a very solid filter. The holes are very small.
It's very opaque.
It's basically just a sheet of metal. And
you do hear everyone has an opinion on something, but just like assholes, everyone's got one. But it doesn't necessarily mean you have to take on board what everyone has to say. Sometimes, even if it is negative, we're not saying that you discount negative opinions, because sometimes hearing just positive stuff can be not as great as what you think it could be. So sometimes people aren't saying it to tear you down or whatever else. They're saying it because they genuinely want to help or protect, or maybe they've seen something. So you have to be open to these new ideas. But if you are constantly surrounded by people who are naysaying and trying to drag you down, that is not the environment that you're going to be. And
actually, that leads on really nicely to environment, which we're going to be talking about in the next episode.
In the next episode, what a great link.
What a fantastic link. So we want to know your thoughts on the topic of fear and limiting beliefs. Have you ever overcome any fears or changed limiting beliefs? And how did you do it? Have you got any tips you could share with the listeners? Pop your comments in on the live video. Email us on hello@yoursuccesspodcast.com, or get in touch on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.
So thank you for listening to Your Success Podcast. Please click subscribe. Leave us a review. We do read every single one of them, and we do value your comments. And we look forward to seeing your comments on our Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and everyone out there. And please don't forget to subscribe to our book launch, which is happening on the 24th of September on Amazon. And you can get more details at tiny.cc/yourbook. So I've been Angelos.
I've been Mo.
And see you again on the next exciting episode of Your Success Podcast.
You have been listening to Your Success Podcast. Click subscribe for more incredible content. More details can be found at www.yoursuccesspodcast.com.